You open your laptop this morning, same as yesterday, same as the day before. You've got 17 tabs open. You don't even remember why half of them are there. There's a research article you were reading 3 days ago, a shopping cart you never checked out, 2 YouTube videos, a Reddit thread, and somewhere buried underneath all of that, the actual thing you need to do today, you take a sip of your coffee, you stare at the screen, and for just a second, just one tiny second, you feel it. That feeling, that low-level hum of being overwhelmed before your day has even started. Sound familiar? Because here's the thing, that's not a you problem, that's not a discipline problem, that's not even a time management problem. That is a tools problem, and today we're going to fix it. My name's not important right now. What is important is that over the past 6 months, I went down a rabbit hole, a deep one. I tested over 60 browser extensions. 60, some were garbage, some were decent. But 10 of them, just 10, completely transformed the way I work, think, research, and live online. And I'm not using that word lightly. Transformed. By the end of this video, you're going to have a browser that feels like it was custom built for your brain. And you're going to wonder how you ever survived without these things. But before we get into the list, I need you to understand something first. Because if you don't understand this, you'll install these extensions, forget about them in a week, and nothing will change. So stay with me for just a moment. Here's what nobody tells you about the internet in 2026. It is not designed for you. It is designed against you. Every website you visit, every platform you open, every feed you scroll, they have entire teams of engineers, psychologists, and behavioral scientists whose only job is to keep you clicking, scrolling, and distracted. They are very good at their job. And until now, you've been showing up to that fight completely unarmed. The average person in 2026 spends over 7 hours a day looking at screens. 7 hours. That's nearly half of your waking life. And studies now show that the majority of that time, the majority, is not intentional. It's reactive. You didn't plan to spend 45 minutes on YouTube. It just happened. You didn't plan to open Twitter and lose your train of thought. It just happened. It always just happens. And here's where it gets really uncomfortable. It's not just wasting your time. Every time your brain switches contexts, every time you jump from a task to a distraction and back, there's a cognitive cost. Researchers call it attention residue. Part of your brain is still thinking about that tweet you just read while you're trying to write your report. Part of you is still thinking about that comment while you're trying to be present in a conversation. You're never fully anywhere. And over time, this fragments your thinking. It shortens your attention span. It makes deep work feel almost painful. Because your brain has been conditioned, to expect a hit of novelty every 30 seconds. That's the real problem. That's what we're solving today. So let's get into it. Extension number 1. And I want you to pay close attention to this one because it's not the most glamorous extension on this list, but it might be the most important one. It's called Unhook for YouTube. Here's a scenario. You're a student. You need to watch one lecture on YouTube. Just one. 20 minutes. You open YouTube, you find the video, you hit play. But before you even click, you see it. The sidebar, filled with thumbnails, bright colors, dramatic faces. You won't believe what happened. This changed everything. Watch this before it's deleted. And your brain, your perfectly normal, perfectly human brain, registers those thumbnails, even if you don't consciously decide to click. Your attention is already fractured. You're already half watching the lecture and half thinking about those other videos. Now multiply that by every single YouTube session you've ever had. Every time you went to watch one thing and ended up watching 17 things. Every time you opened YouTube at 9 p.m. and looked up at the clock to find it was midnight. Unhook fixes this. It strips YouTube down to exactly what you came for. No recommended videos, no home feed, no comments, no sidebar, just the video. Just the content you chose to watch. Intentionally. On purpose. Like an adult in control of their own time. You can customize exactly which elements you remove. Want to keep comments? Fine. Want to keep subscriptions? You can. But you decide. Not the algorithm. You. The moment I installed this extension, my average YouTube session dropped from 90 minutes to 22 minutes. I'm not exaggerating. I looked at my screen time data and my jaw dropped. I was spending over an hour of extra time every single day just being algorithmically dragged from video to video, and I had no idea. Think about what you could do with an extra hour every day. Every single day. That's 365 hours a year. That's over 15 full days of your life. Given back to you because of one free browser extension. Extension number 2. This one's for the researchers, the writers, the students, the overthinkers. Basically, anyone who has ever copied a bunch of text from different websites and then had absolutely no idea where any of it came from. It's called Roam Highlighter. Or if you use Notion or Obsidian, there's a version called Notion Web Clipper and Obsidian Web Clipper, respectively. But the concept is the same, and I'll explain it in a way that covers all of them. Picture this. You're writing a paper, or an article, or a business proposal. You're doing research online. You read something interesting on website 1. You copy it. You read something on website 2. You copy that. Website 3, 4, 5. You're building this beautiful pile of information in your head. And then you open your document to start writing. And you realize you can't remember where anything came from. You've got fragments of ideas with no sources. You've got half-remembered facts you're not sure you read or imagined. You've got browser tabs you're afraid to close because you might lose something important. This is research chaos, and it's incredibly common. Web clippers and highlighters solve this elegantly. You highlight text on any web page, hit a keyboard shortcut, and it's instantly saved with the source URL, the date, the page title, everything, directly into your note-taking system. Roam, Obsidian, Notion, even just a plain text file. It goes there, automatically, organized, cited. But here's the part that's really clever. The best of these extensions, and this is where it gets impressive in 2026, now use AI to tag your highlights automatically. So when you come back to your notes a week later, looking for that thing I read about cognitive load, it surfaces instantly. You don't have to remember where you put it. The system remembers for you. This isn't just convenient. This is how the most productive writers and researchers in the world have been working for years. Thinkers like Ryan Holiday, who has built an entire career on a system called commonplace noting, capturing ideas from everywhere and connecting them. Now that system is available to anyone with a browser and 5 minutes to set it up. Extension number 3. This one makes people uncomfortable when they first use it, in a good way. It's called DF YouTube combined with Cold Turkey Blocker, or for a simpler single solution, Freedom or Stay Focused. Here's the scenario I want you to imagine. You have a big project due, a deadline, something important, and you sit down to work on it with full intention, full motivation. You're ready. You open your browser, and then, without even thinking, without making a conscious decision, your fingers type twitter.com and hit enter, or reddit.com, or instagram.com. Your fingers did that, not your brain, not your intention. Your fingers, out of pure muscle memory. This is the definition of a habit loop. And the terrifying thing about habit loops is that by the time your conscious brain catches up to what's happening, you're already 3 posts deep into a feed that has nothing to do with your work. Site blockers create friction. And friction is the enemy of bad habits. When you set up a blocker during work hours, during deep focus sessions, during whatever time you designate as protected, your browser literally won't let you visit those sites. You try to go to Twitter, and you get a wall, maybe a motivational quote, maybe just a sad gray screen. But the automatic, thoughtless muscle memory behavior is broken. Your conscious brain has to catch up. And once your conscious brain is involved, you can make an actual choice. The best implementations of this in 2026 go further. They have scheduled blocking. So on weekday mornings from 8 to 12, certain sites are just inaccessible. You can't override it in a moment of weakness. Some of them have a 5-minute delay setting. You can visit the site, but you have to wait 5 minutes first. And that wait is usually enough for the urge to pass. This sounds simple. It is simple. But never confuse simple with not powerful. This single behavior change, adding friction to distraction, has been shown in behavioral science research to reduce unintentional social media use by up to 40%. 40%. Without willpower, without motivation, just friction. Extension number 4 is one that almost nobody's talking about yet, and I think it's going to become absolutely standard within the next 2 years. It's called Perplexity AI Assistant, or the equivalent for whatever AI search engine you prefer. There are now browser extensions for Perplexity, u.com, and several others that bring AI-powered search directly into your browser without making you open a separate tab. Here's why this matters more than it sounds. The way most people use AI tools right now is completely inefficient. You're working on something. You have a question. You open a new tab. You go to ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini. You type your question. You wait. You read the answer. You copy what you need. You close the tab. You go back to what you were doing. That's 6 to 8 steps for every single question, and every one of those steps is a context switch. Every context switch costs you attention residue. Remember that from earlier? With a browser extension AI Assistant, you highlight any text on any web page and hit a shortcut. A panel slides in from the side. You ask your question in context. Explain this term. Summarize this page. Is this source credible? What are the counter-arguments to this claim? And you get the answer instantly without leaving the page you're on. I want you to really feel what that's like. Imagine reading a dense research paper. You hit an unfamiliar concept. Normally, you'd open a new tab, search it, read about it, maybe go down a rabbit hole. Now, you just highlight the phrase, press a button, and a clear, plain English explanation appears right beside the paper. You never leave. Your focus never breaks. You keep reading. This is how we augment our thinking without replacing it. The AI isn't doing the work for you. You're still reading, still analyzing, still forming your own conclusions. But it removes the friction from understanding. It's like having a very smart, infinitely patient research assistant sitting next to you, always available, never judgmental. In 2026, the people who learn to use AI as a cognitive amplifier rather than a crutch are going to have a significant advantage over those who either ignore AI entirely or use it to just do their thinking for them. This extension is a perfect example of that middle path. Extension number 5. This one saved me actual money, real dollars, and it'll save you money too. It's called Honey. And before you say, I've heard of Honey, I want to explain something about how it works in 2026 that most people completely miss, and why it's become dramatically more powerful than it was when you first heard about it. Most people know Honey as the coupon extension. And yes, it automatically applies coupon codes at checkout. That's the basic feature. But here's what's changed. Honey now tracks price history on products. So when you're on Amazon looking at a gadget, let's say a pair of wireless earbuds, instead of just seeing today's price and wondering if it's a good deal, you see a graph, a history. You can see that 3 weeks ago, this item was $40 cheaper. You can see that it goes on sale every 6 weeks. You can see that the current price is actually the highest it's been in 6 months. That one piece of information, graph, prevents what behavioral economists call the urgency trap. The urgency trap is when you feel like you need to buy something right now because the price feels right and you're afraid it'll go up. Most of the time, it won't, or it'll go down. And the price history tells you the truth instantly, for free, without any research on your part. There's also a feature called Drop List. You add an item to your drop list, set a target price, and Honey emails you when the price hits that number. 0 effort, maximum savings. You don't have to check back. You don't have to remember. You set it and forget it, and the internet does the work of finding you the deal. Across the households in my friend group who started using this, we averaged between $200 and $400 a year in savings per person for an extension that takes 30 seconds to install and 0 effort to use. That math makes no sense not to do. Let's take a breath here because we're about halfway through the list, and I want to add something. What you're seeing is a theme. Every single one of these extensions follows the same principle. They're not adding things to your browser, they're subtracting, removing friction, removing temptation, removing inefficiency, so that what's left is a browser that actually works for you. A digital environment that respects your time and your attention and your intention. This is what I mean when I say your browser should feel like it was built for your brain. Because right now, most browsers, out of the box, are built for the businesses that advertise through them. They're built to make you see more ads, click more things, stay online longer. Every default setting is a compromise towards someone else's interest. These extensions are how you take that back. Extension number 6. This one's a game changer for anyone who does any kind of writing online. And in 2026, that's basically everyone. Every professional email, every LinkedIn post, every document, every message, it's a combination of Language Tool and Grammarly. And I'm going to explain why I use both and why one alone isn't enough. Grammarly is the one most people know. It catches grammar, spelling, clarity issues. It's good. It's genuinely useful. But here's the limitation. And this took me a while to figure out. Grammarly tends to push everything toward a very particular style, a kind of corporate American English that's very clean and very same. Over time, if you follow every Grammarly suggestion, your writing starts to sound like a press release. Technical, but characterless. Language Tool has a slightly different approach. It's more focused on technical correctness and less focused on stylistic homogenization. It supports more languages natively. It catches different types of errors. And when you use both together, you get the best of both systems. The comprehensive catch of Grammarly with the nuance of Language Tool. But here's the deeper point about why this matters. In 2026, everything you write is part of your personal brand. Whether you're a freelancer, a job seeker, a business owner, a student, or just someone sending professional emails, the quality of your written communication is now more visible, more permanent, and more consequential than it's ever been in human history. Because everything is written down, everything is sent, everything potentially lives forever somewhere. A single poorly written email to the wrong person at the wrong moment can color someone's entire impression of your competence. I know that sounds harsh. I know it's not fair, but it's real. And these tools, both together, costing a fraction of what a single hour with a professional editor would cost, give you a second set of very smart, very fast eyes on everything you write. Extension number 7. This is the one I almost didn't put on the list because I was worried it would sound boring. But then I thought about how much time I wasted before I found it, and I knew I had to include it. It's called OneTab. Here's the situation. You're a tab hoarder, don't deny it. And we are almost all tab hoarders because each open tab represents something, an idea, a task, a piece of information, a thing you meant to do. Closing a tab feels like losing something, so we keep them open. And then we have 40 tabs open, and our browser is using 90% of our computer's memory, and everything is slow, and we're mentally carrying this enormous weight of all these unfinished digital threads. One tab collapses every single open tab into one clean list with one click. All your tabs become links on a single page. Your browser memory usage drops by up to 95%. And I've actually tested this. It's not marketing. Your computer genuinely becomes faster almost immediately, and everything is saved. Nothing is lost. You can restore individual tabs or all of them at once whenever you want. But the second benefit is psychological, and this is the one that really gets me. When all your tabs are collapsed into a list, you're forced to look at them as what they actually are. Text, just a list of links. And suddenly that overwhelming cloud of open windows becomes something manageable, something you can scroll through, delete, organize. The visual overwhelm disappears, and you find out something interesting. Most of those tabs, you don't need them. When you actually look at them as items on a list, rather than as active, living, must-keep-open browser windows, the urgency dissolves. You realize you've been carrying around mental weight for nothing, and you delete them, and you feel lighter, almost immediately. I'm not being metaphorical. People report an actual physical sense of relief when they do this for the first time. Extension number 8. This is for your privacy. And I'm going to be very direct here because this topic often gets buried under technical jargon, and I want to make sure you feel how real this is. It's called uBlock Origin, combined with Privacy Badger. Here's what's happening right now while you read this, while you use your browser. Trackers, hundreds of them. On almost every website you visit, there are small invisible pieces of code running in the background. They're not doing anything for you. They're watching you, recording which pages you visit, how long you stay, what you click on, what you search for, where your mouse moves on the screen. This data is collected, compiled, packaged, and sold to advertisers, to data brokers, to companies you've never heard of who are building incredibly detailed profiles of who you are, what you want, what you fear, what you're likely to buy, how you're likely to vote, what medical conditions you might have based on what health pages you visited. If that doesn't make you at least a little uncomfortable, I'd check your pulse. uBlock Origin blocks ads in most trackers. It's the most tested, most trusted ad blocker in existence. It also makes pages load significantly faster, because those ads and trackers are using your internet bandwidth. Some websites load 30 to 40% faster with uBlock active. You are literally getting more speed from your internet connection for free. Privacy Badger learns as you browse. It identifies trackers based on their behavior, things that are following you from site to site, and blocks them automatically, even new ones it hasn't seen before. It's an adaptive privacy layer that gets smarter over time. Together, these two extensions form a privacy shield that makes your browsing experience simultaneously faster, cleaner, and dramatically more private. And in 2026, with data being called the new oil, and that comparison being increasingly literal, keeping some of that data off the market feels less like paranoia and more like basic digital hygiene. Extension number 9. This one changed how I read the news, and I think it might be one of the most important things on this entire list for your mental health and your ability to think clearly. It's called Newspaper Paywall Bypass. There are a few of these, including Unpaywall for academic articles, but the one I want to focus on is actually called Read on Reader, or a similar service that combines reader mode with a clean interface. Let me explain the real problem first. The internet in 2026 is designed to make you anxious. I don't mean this conspiratorially. I mean it structurally, mechanically. Anxiety-inducing headlines get more clicks. More clicks means more ad revenue. Therefore, every headline is written to maximize your anxiety response. Even stories that are fundamentally neutral or even positive get framed in the most alarming way possible. Scientists discover new treatment becomes doctors warn about terrifying new disease linked to common household item. Okay, I exaggerated, but not by much. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Reader mode extensions strip away everything except the actual content of the article. No flashing sidebar, no auto-playing video, no you might also like section filled with clickbait, no comment section, no share buttons, just words. Clean, readable, distraction-free words. And here's what happens when you read news in this format. Your blood pressure goes down, slightly, measurably. I know this sounds dramatic, but there's actually research on this. The visual chaos of a typical news website creates a low-level stress response. Reader mode eliminates that stimulus. You get the information, you don't get the panic. Paired with this, I recommend an extension called News Feed Eradicator, which replaces your social media feeds with a single inspirational quote. You can still use social media. You can still go to specific pages, search for specific people, post things, but the infinite scroll, the passive consumption, The algorithmic feed designed to show you the most emotionally activating content, gone. Replaced with a quote. It sounds almost too simple, but the way these feeds work is that they're designed to pull you in passively. When you have to actively seek out content instead of having it poured into your eyes, you consume differently, more intentionally, less anxiously, and you spend dramatically less time on these platforms without feeling like you're missing anything. Extension number 10, the final one. And I saved this one for last because it's the most powerful, it's the most underrated, and it's the one that ties everything else together. It's called Workona, or its close equivalent Toby for Chrome or Session Buddy, depending on your preferences. Here's the scenario. You are a person with multiple areas of your life that require a computer. Maybe you have a day job and a side project, or you're a student and you have a part-time business, or you're a freelancer with 3 clients, or you're just someone who needs to do research for one thing, personal finance management for another thing, and creative work for a third thing. Right now, all of those contexts probably share the same browser, the same tabs, the same window. And when you're trying to work on your side project, your day job tabs are right there, calling to you. And when you're trying to relax and watch something fun, your work tabs are sitting in the background, creating a low hum of ambient guilt. This is context collapse, and it's exhausting. Workona and its alternatives let you create separate workspaces, completely separate sets of tabs, bookmarks, and browser state for each area of your life. Your work workspace, your side project workspace, your learning workspace, your personal workspace. When you switch from one to another, all the tabs from the previous workspace disappear and the new workspace appears. Clean, separate, like switching between different rooms in a house rather than trying to do everything in one room simultaneously. The cognitive relief from this is enormous and almost immediate, because our brains do not multitask. Despite what we tell ourselves, despite what our culture celebrates, the science is unambiguous. Human brains do not process multiple contexts simultaneously. We switch between them, and every switch has a cost. Workona reduces those switches by giving each context a clean, separate home. It's the difference between a messy desk covered in papers from 5 different projects and 5 clean desks, each set up perfectly for exactly one thing. And when your environment is organized, your mind is more organized. When your mind is more organized, your thinking is clearer. When your thinking is clearer, your work is better, your decisions are better, your life is measurably, tangibly better. We've covered all 10. Let me give them to you quickly, all at once, so they're fixed in your memory. Unhook for YouTube. Remove the algorithmic black hole. Roam Highlighter or Notion Obsidian Web Clipper. Capture and connect everything you learn. Stay focused or freedom. Create friction against distraction. Perplexity or your AI assistant of choice. Bring AI into your reading without breaking your flow. Honey, stop paying full price for anything. Language Tool and Grammarly together. Make everything you write as good as it can be. One tab. Collapse the chaos. Free your memory. uBlock Origin and Privacy. Badger. Take back your privacy and your speed. Reader mode and news feed. Eradicator. Read the internet instead of being consumed by it. And Workona. Separate your contexts. Protect your focus. 10 extensions, most of them free, all of them available right now. But here's where I want to leave you, and this is the part that's actually most important. Technology is not the answer. It's never been the answer. If you install all 10 of these extensions, but you don't understand why you're installing them, if you don't understand what you're protecting and what you're building toward, they'll become background noise within a week. So let me be direct with you. Your attention is the most valuable thing you own. Not your money, not your time. Time is fixed. You can't make more of it. Your attention. Because your attention determines what you think about. And what you think about determines what you build, what you create, what you become, what kind of person you are at the end of each day and the end of each year. Right now in 2026, there is an invisible war being fought over your attention. Every platform, every website, every algorithm is competing to capture it, hold it, monetize it. And most of us are walking around thinking we're just browsing the internet, while in reality, the internet is browsing us. These 10 extensions are not life hacks. They're not productivity tricks. They're a declaration. A small, quiet, daily declaration that says, my attention is mine, my focus is mine, my time is mine, and I am going to spend it on the things I actually choose, not the things I was manipulated into. That's not a small thing, that's actually everything. So install the extensions and set them up. Spend one afternoon getting your browser organized. But more importantly, ask yourself what you're going to do with the time and attention you get back. What are you going to build? What are you going to learn? Who are you going to become? Because the goal was never to have a perfect browser. The goal was always to have a better life, and it starts right now with one click. If this video changed how you think about your digital environment, share it with one person who needs to hear it. Not because I need the views, because they need the information. And subscribe if you want to keep thinking clearly in a world that profits from your confusion. See you in the next one.